Welcome to this month's Exercise of the Month. This month we're looking at Spinal Health Awareness Week. So as a chiropractor it seems like something we should have covered by now, but actually it's something that's quite an easy topic for me to cover in an exercise. It's an exercise we haven't done before. I've covered a few different variations of exercises before. It's one that lots of people have done or experienced before from physiotherapy, from sheets of exercise given by the GP, things like that. There's a reason it's so ubiquitous, so commonly found. That's the most easy exercise to give that will benefit the most people. When we're looking at back pain, we like to split the back into a few different areas. We've got the lumbar spine in the low back, we've got the thoracic spine in the middle, and we've got the cervical spine at the top in the neck. But if we're looking at the major area that you can make a big influence on at home, and that I would recommend putting more work into, that would be working on the thoracic spine. Most people are stiff through this section. Most people move possibly too much in the neck and the low back because this center section of the spine isn't doing its job, it's not working hard enough, it's not moving well enough. So this is a really simple exercise that lots of you will have tried before, but there's a few little tips and tweaks to get the most out of it that you can. It's the cat-camel exercise or the cat-cow exercise, lots of different things. It tends to be cat and some other animal that's vaguely humpy. You'll see why when we're doing it. The easiest position to do it from is hands and knees. In this position, you then want to be working on keeping your hands underneath the shoulders and your knees underneath the hips. Where we mostly see this go wrong, people trying to do it far too long and then dropping down through the low back, or sitting very, very tight and then not having the scope of movement. I'll talk about how we can use that in a minute. But we want to have the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and keep the chin tucked so you're just coming away from the floor. Most people in this position, again, start sagged down or looking at their knees. So you want to be pushing the arms into the floor and keeping the chin tucked. From there, we want to vaguely keep the low back in a neutral position, so not too low, not too high. It can be, this exercise can be used for the low back as well though, but as I said earlier, most people not stiff in their low back. And we can drop down between the shoulder blades, trying to arch in the middle of the back between the shoulder blades, and then push up as high as we can, tucking the chin and then looking down to the knees. So in this position, you're really forcing as much movement as you can in between the shoulder blades. If we go to a longer position and we do the same exercise, we get a lot more through the low back and it's a lot easier to stretch out the low back. But start here, see how you get on, and then lengthen or shorten as required. If you're still struggling to move this section because it's really, really tight, you can move to a really short position, and that forces the lift and drop to happen right at the top of the spine in between the shoulder blades. The crucial thing to bear in mind is to keep the chin tucked, especially when we're dropping down. Most people want to look up. You can see there's a lot of movement happening in my neck, but very little movement happening in my back. So if you keep the chin tucked, you force the movement between the shoulder blades. It's a really simple exercise. Most people would benefit from doing it a little bit. Great for undoing desk work, undoing that general forward curved posture that most of us have. And I think it's a really useful tool to have in your toolbox from exercises. If you've got any questions about anything of this, please do get in touch with any of our chiropractors or any of the staff at Durham House. We'd be happy to help. Thank you very much.